So you're considering moving here to the great state of Texas, where there's great warm weather, the friendliest of people, there's certainly a very diverse population, a booming economy, and even some really great golf courses around. Let me tell you, they're really awesome. But what they may have not told you is that the home prices, just like many parts of the US, have shot up exponentially. And so that's a consideration as well. Inflation has certainly taken hold in many of the areas. Man, from your groceries, going out to eat, my gosh, if I could figure out a way to not have to go out to eat every single lunch, I need to learn how to meal prep or something, because let me tell you, I can't figure that out yet. My meal budget is through the roof. If you're going to take your family out to do anything in terms of entertainment, there's lots of places to go, but keep in mind that budget's going to be stretched a little bit when you're doing those activities, because now things have just gotten more expensive. The other consideration, since so many people have decided to move this direction in the great state of Texas, is the traffic. There's lots of traffic here, especially in the bigger cities like Austin, Houston, San Antonio, and of course, Dallas-Fort Worth. And we didn't plan Texas very well like some of the other states, such as subways or a rail system. We use our good old-fashioned cars, or in many people's cases, a big old truck, including me. Here's mine. I think that those are some really great reasons why you may or may not want to move to Texas. What are we going to discuss today about moving to Texas? Well, we're going to discuss schools, all the great public schools, and certainly jobs. Amazing amount of jobs here. You've heard of so many companies moving to this area, and businesses, and just so many amount of businesses that have moved here over the course of the last 5-10 years. We're going to certainly touch on housing as well. What kind of housings are here? What are we going to actually see, and what works best for you? We're going to even touch a little bit on politics. What kind of politics do they have here in Texas? What would you see, and what are some of the considerations? So my name is Justin Henry. I'm the broker and owner of Justin Henry Real Estate Advisors. I've been working here right in the North Texas market for the past 20 years, helping people just like you get moved to and from this great state. So please do connect, as we'd love to help you with your move. And please don't also forget to hit the bell and subscribe to our channel. We can get you regular updates about living right here in North Texas. One of the things I absolutely love about this area is, for me, the suburban life. I'm in the burbs, man. Let me tell you, having a backyard for the kids, enjoying the parks and all the various pools that our HOA provides, even having some community block parties. Let me tell you, there are times whenever, usually spring, it's a little hot here in the summer, because let me tell you, it can get hot. But I've got a little blow-up movie theater. We'll have all the entire neighborhood, the street come up, and I'll pop up the movie theater we have, as well as some speakers. And we sometimes offer that for our clients as well. If they want to do a move-in, move-out party, whatever the case. But we'll pop it up and put on a movie for the kids. And adults will go out there and then maybe have an adult beverage or two, and just hang out and have a good time. Look, I don't like having to manage a ton of acreage, because that's just not for me. That's for my parents and my grandparents. They got that. They live out in East Texas. They enjoy that aspect of Texas. And I decided, nope, I'm not going to manage an entire 10, 15, 20 acres or so. It just wasn't up for me. So if you're like me and like suburban living and life, there are plenty of areas all around Texas to be able to do that. But if you're not into that and you want to get into a tiny house, some urban living, or maybe even do that rural living lifestyle and having that land to, I don't know, have a horse, a cow, a chicken, whatever, you can have it. My aunt, let me tell you, out in East Texas, every time I head out that direction, she throws eggs on me. I can get my own eggs at the grocery store. But she loves giving us eggs because she loves her chickens. And so that's her thing. And I guess we'll take the eggs. I don't know. So a little bit of information about Texas. Texas is the second largest state in all the U.S. And from 2010 to 2020, it actually grew by more than 4 million people. The largest gains located in Texas were actually from San Antonio, DFW, Austin, and Houston. And a lot of the reasons why these people are actually showing up to our doorstep here in Texas is because of these public schools we've got. They're actually really pretty good. Obviously, we said the jobs, the housing is relatively inexpensive. If you're into politics, into not politics, I guess, we're a red state, man. You know, that's just our thing. We've been that way since the mid-90s. That's just what we do. And a lot of people end up moving here because you may already know somebody that lives here and they said, hey, it's really great. The simple fact of the matter is that if you knew a friend, family, significant other, let me tell you, all 5 of my neighbors around me all came from somewhere else. 3 of them are from, guess what? You know who? California. And 2 of them are from Wisconsin. They wanted to get out of the cold too. And so they've been here for a number of years and they all brought their families too. Let me tell you, I know all of them because they all come in from California or Wisconsin or Hawaii or whatever, and we're all buddies and it's great. That said, there's a lot of people that have continuously tried to move here. So let's step right into the schools. The public school system here is really awesome. You're typically going to have newer campuses. What I mean by that is the schools themselves look pretty dang new. That may be because the actual classes or the school buildings themselves have been just newly built because there are so many new homes here, or they've gone ahead and either developed a new building right next to it because the old one just fell down because there is enough land, or they've remodeled that building. And so you have plenty of nice newer schools in most areas, and they try to do a very good job of building in enough tax money to help those buildings continuously be remodeled when the time comes. Another thing I really like about Texas is they tend to have smaller elementary classes. In most cities and suburbs around DFW, and I'll just say across the state, you tend to have smaller elementary schools. So in the case of my kiddo, he's going to a school here in McKinney, Texas. His kindergarten class is going to be only 13 kids, which actually I think is pretty darn good. I think on the average it's somewhere around 20. So that's just an unbelievably small class for a young kid who, you know, may need a little more help with a teacher. Probably my kid, let me tell you. He's probably gonna need it. Like I said, if you're truly living in these suburbs, you're gonna see an abundance of elementary schools. And so, you know, that's just a bonus you get with Texas living, is you don't have as many kids packed into one little building as you typically would in maybe even a high school. DFW has 6 of the top 10 highest ranked schools in the state. So if you are ending up moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you got 6 of the best public schools right here. And by the way, if you're a teacher and you're considering moving here, and you're a good teacher, please do, because we need a lot of teachers here. There are so many needs, and teachers are certainly one of them. We don't give enough love and money to teachers, that's certainly the truth, but they do a very good job in many of the cities around town to help supplement that and or pay for a good amount of wage for those teachers. What are some of the other great things about the schools? Well, I would just say athletics, man. Let me tell you, our football stadiums here are absolutely massive, man. You go look at Frisco's stadiums or McKinney's or, you know, Allen. I mean, every single one of those are just college level, man. They're great. They're huge. It's an event every Friday night. So if you go to one of those, you will see the massive scale at which they love football here. But it's not just all about football. They've got tennis. They've got lacrosse. My neighbor across the street, his kiddo is getting into lacrosse. He's like 9, but he loves it. His dad doesn't love it because he had to buy for all that equipment. It's not cheap, I know. That said, he loves doing it. It's fun. It's a growing sport here, so that's certainly something to consider. Soccer is another one that I tell you what, doesn't get enough attention, I think, nationwide, but Texas, because I think of our diverse population, Texas has a great soccer following. You've got, you know, of course, the MLS here in the Frisco market. But also at the end of the day, you've got some really unique situations when it comes to soccer too. My cousin and his nephew, actually, they go to Forms Academy. Forms Academy is all about soccer, man. This school is actually specifically dedicated to kids that awesome at soccer and all they want to do is play soccer. It's really amazing. So what are the drawbacks into some of the schools? Well, especially in the high school ranks, you're going to see just some massive schools. There are more than 250 6A schools in Texas. And so that can mean that some of your kids may get lost in the shuffle. Hope mine doesn't, but that's a very good possibility. And to be honest, I'm a little scared for my kiddo to go to high school because, that's just such a big school, and you never know what's going to happen, right? Schools tend to get realigned quite often. Take a look at Prosper here, the ISD changes since 2018. As you can see, they've realigned 3 times in just 5 short years, going from 8 elementary schools to currently 16. So if you're happy at your current school and your kid has a best buddy that lives outside of their realignment, well, get ready for some tears because it is very possible that you aren't going to be seeing them in the next 5 years or so if they in fact get realigned. By the way, if you'd like to learn more about homes in Prosper or certain other areas in terms of price, builders, overall look, or anything like that, please head over to justinhenryhomes.com and we can get you figured out right there. Okay, so let's step into the job landscape. What is it actually looking like? Well, let me just say, there are so many different companies that have moved here between State Farm and the PGA and pretty much every insurance company I'm aware of, to be honest. And there's so many more, it's already even hard to fathom how many have moved here. Why do they do that? Well, low taxes, man. There's no state tax. Many of these cities and towns around supplement those companies to come in and develop. And so that is certainly something that you will continue to see in the Texas markets where they continue to bring businesses in. And what does that in turn do? It pushes up the economy. It has allowed us to have the second largest GDP in America. It's huge. And very little unemployment. And so at the end of the day, as we're saying, if you need a job, there is a job out there for you. Let me tell you, if you are in any kind of job, whether it be healthcare, IT, anything. More Uber drivers. Please let me have some more Uber drivers, because every time I try to get an Uber driver from my house to the airport, it's not easy. It takes about 25 minutes sometimes to do it. So if you're an Uber driver, are you in New York somewhere? Just come. I need you to be here, please. Obviously, with those businesses moving here, it brings in a lot of money. And so what are the 3 most in-demand jobs per the Texas workforce? Well, first one is an operations analyst, they say. And what do they make? They make around $87,000 on an annual salary. And per the workforce, they're saying there's going to be a 40% overall growth outlook over the next 7 years for that operations analyst job. Physician assistant. So, if you're a physician assistant, a nurse, whatever, let me tell you, 37% growth by 2030 with an average salary currently of $112,200. Nurses, we need them. We got old people here. Just like the entire nation, people are getting older. The average age in Texas is 35 years old, but that's been increasing year by year. It's, I think 5 years ago it was like 31. Older people. Dental hygienist. You certainly need more of those because people need to fix their teeth, right? And so you got a lot of dentists in town that need a lot of dental hygienists. There's going to be a 35% increase by 2030, and $77,000 is what you could expect if you were to be a dental hygienist. The healthcare industry is certainly booming in Texas, and I'll just say that, man, you almost see a hospital or an ER or a doc in a box or whatever it is almost in every single corner now here in the North Texas area. As our population continues to age, it's just going to happen more often and more commonly, seeing more need. I mean, that's the end of the day. That is the deal. So what are the drawbacks from some of this? Well, many of these jobs are actually being created in the cities. And so if you were wanting to do an at-home kind of position, you won't be able to do that. And if you want to live on a farm or something like that, you're going to have to commute. So hopefully you're okay with living in your car for a little bit. They just don't allow you to work from home. People are back at work, right? That's just a simple fact. And so you have to get in a position where you can actually drive to a location. And are those salaries actually keeping up with inflation? I don't know. Sometimes they do and sometimes they aren't. But I'll just say that Texas, because of our overall cost of living, is just so much lower than other areas such as California or New York or wherever. You're going to see that you're going to be able to stretch that dollar far better than really anywhere else. Let me just say that in terms of the housing, houses are everywhere now. If you're looking for a single family house 5 years ago where it was just a crop of land where they've come in and developed now, I just remember, 7-10 years ago when Frisco was just literally nothing. It was just so small. But now there's nearly 400, 500,000 people in Frisco alone. It's just unbelievable. And really through the pandemic, we had so many people move here. We had a 2-year wait to build a house in many of the markets. Let me just say that multiple offers were happening during that time. And some of those, I would say the average for homes in the market was an average of $25,000 over the list price to buy the house. And so what has that done? That's in turn driven up the prices. And so you're seeing price increases for homes in Texas across the board. The average priced home right now is around $400,000. It had gone up a little bit more than that, but it has since come down due to interest rates and just the calming of the masses of the overall pandemic. You know, that all seems kind of negative compared to the East and West, though. Like we said, it's pretty reasonable for $400,000. I mean, you know, we're actually still in the top 20% in terms of the overall cost and affordability of homes. And so depending on where you go as well, that's going to certainly vary extremely widely in terms of price per foot and price range. Let me just tell you, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, you know, those areas are going to be among the most expensive. They truly are. But if you end up going to areas like Tyler or, you know, cities outside of the metro areas that are, you know, smaller bedroom communities, you're going to certainly see a situation where you can find a better price on a house that's just that right size for you. Some considerations about housing here in Texas. These homes don't have basements. And why is that? Well, soil's really bad here. When I say bad, it can contract and expand in many areas, and it can contain water. The water table can be very shallow in some areas, and that once again can cause issues with soil. And just the overall cost. There's a serious cost when it comes to building out a basement. So many developers around here ain't gonna go for it. They're just gonna build you a slab and you're gonna have that house. You know, most of the homes around here are typically newer. They have a really overall good floor plan, and most of them are brick. The average home build is probably somewhere between 2001 and 2002 if you spread it across Dallas-Fort Worth. So many homes since the early aughts have been developed in and around this area. So you're seeing homes that are being developed quickly, and that can cause some issues with specifically taxation. So what are some of the things to watch out for whenever you're buying a home? One of the things is a PID. So when you move to Texas, you might want to ask your realtor, work with us. We know all those areas that actually have this, but a PID is a property income distribution. And it sounds exactly what it says. It's just they're making income off of the raw land of the property. It's builders and developers and landlords are all, the landowners are all saying, hey, you know what? We don't want to pay for this development of the roads and the streets and the plumbing and all this kind of jazz. So we're going to pass it off to you, Mr. Homeowner. And how do they do that? Well, it's through a bond or a loan, if they want to call it that. It's on a 30-year note. You can pay it off early if you want to. I don't know anybody that actually has done that, but it's pretty sizable. Depending upon the lot and land, it could be $25,000 to $45,000, but it's an additional tax on your annual taxes. It's an assessment. And that leads me into property taxes. You know, they can certainly eat your lunch here. I would say the average property tax in Dallas-Fort Worth is around 2.35. You know, with the higher prices, that has certainly ticked up. You know, I would say people that have their exemptions in place, by the way, once you move here, after you've lived here that first year or after January 1, you can put on certain homestead exemptions that help you cap your taxes currently at 10%, but I'll just say that recent political changes may make it to where it's going to be capping down to 5%. So that's going to be a positive for us here in Texas, and that'll help, I'll just say help, to a certain extent, the taxation of our houses here in the DFW and statewide. Next thing I'll talk about is going to be the fact of politics. We're mostly a red state. So we've been that way since the mid-90s, I would say. And with our diverse population, you started to see that change somewhat. Since then, you've got Democrats kind of edging up. You'll see in this photo, we've got some definite sway in the overall landscape of the Democrats and the Republicans, where they've gained some traction, but at the end of the day, we are still a red state. Now, the House, Senate, and all the Supreme Courts are all considered Republican. And that carries some good and bad things, right? We still get good job influx. We're all about the jobs. We get low taxes. We got a big focus on abortion. You know, if you're worried about abortion, I don't know. And also there's, fairly minimal assistance to the underserved populations. Look, I'm not a political guy, but those are kind of my assumptions as to what we have here. At the end of the day, most people enjoy moving here because they make their own way, right? So, once again, I hope this is giving you a little bit of insight in your potential move here to the Texas area. Certainly, please reach out to us here at Justin Henry Real Estate. My number, 972-757-6273, or just head on down below and you can get more information about me. Certainly go to our YouTube and get more information as well. And we look forward to seeing you here in Texas.